What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness, the only wellness show offering self-care on clearance and opinions that are probably not FDA approved. I'm your host, Tim, your guide through all things healing, humorous, and occasionally a little herbal, if the labels aren't too faded at least. Tonight we're hitting you with 3 doses of off-brand insight. Opening with vitamins, right? Cabinet of chaos, you ask? Do we even know what we're taking anymore? Then we're diving into tradition with a side of side-eye as we unpack why women still are taking their husband's last name, and it may just be an identity scam of this century. Finally, we'll meet the ambiverts, the middle children of the personality world, and finally give them the spotlight they didn't ask for but totally deserve. Around here, the vibe is simple: hydrate, meditate, and speculate. Because we believe your wellness journey should come with laughter, flexibility, and maybe a few questionable gummies. No pressure to be perfect, just make it intentional. As we say every week, make it worth your wellness. So grab a drink, cancel a plan, let your nervous system know it's finally safe to vibe. You're in the right place. Welcome, welcome. It's like we had one viewer in here for at least a moment, and then they briefly stepped out. So put a little vibe music on. Turn that down a little bit there. There we go. We got a little vibe going. I like it. I like it. Saw my friend Charles Winfield was in here a moment ago. Said, "Hey, buddy." All right, let's give a moment, see if anybody jumps in here with us, starts chatting with us. We had good viewership the other night. Philadelphia Phillies are up 2-0 against the Los Angeles Dodgers, the undefeated Los Angeles Dodgers as of right now. 3-0. 3-0. I like it. I like it. You get a little insurance run. I like it. That's why I started off. I am a little curious if, for our little bet, Ethan McDermott, if you happen to see this one, remember, Phillies win the series. Dodgers win the series. I do. I'm gonna be honest. It sounds scary, but I don't know that. I don't really know that it would be. I don't know. I feel like it almost might feel good, but it could also hurt like a bee. So we'll see. Let's see, no viewers as of right now, but we're going to get into our first segment, our first topic, here in just another moment. I just want to make sure that, I just wanted to make sure we're able to get stuff out there. The TikTok I posted yesterday did not do that well. I don't know if I didn't use very good hashtags. I figured I needed to at least show my face. Like not just using, little auto-generated videos from Canva. I thought if I showed my face, it might get a little bit more traction, but I might need to work on that a little bit. See, we got a viewer in here with us. Welcome. I don't know. I got to figure out, how do I see who my viewers are? Because it'd be nice to know who's joining me. I probably know who you are, but that's the only thing. I don't see my viewers until you make a comment. But we're gonna get into our first segment here in just a second. And if you do leave a comment, just know that it's usually about 20 seconds behind. There's like a slight delay because we're streaming. So, yeah, we're getting ready to get into our first little topic where I give a little, we'll be covering 3 segments throughout this stream. I kind of record each of those little segments to post on YouTube. And and kind of going through a script, so I'll react to chat kind of more after I've done that piece. So with that being said, let's get in this one. Getting into the world of vitamins. Let's talk about that one cabinet in everyone's house. You know the one, right? You've got 17 half-empty bottles of things like magnesium, turmeric, elderberry, iron, vitamin D, fish oil, and something called ashwagandha that you bought on Tuesday because you were stressed and the bottle had leaves on it and you saw it on TikTok. We've kind of become supplement collectors. We don't even take half of it. We just like knowing that it's there, like a vitamin security system. Just in case the world ends and we need 6 different types of collagen, which is supposed to really help our skin. It's never organized either. I don't believe there's anyone in the world who has a Pinterest-worthy vitamin shelf. It's just pure chaos, right? We've all got that one bin. Bottles with missing labels. A rogue gummy, right? Stuck to the bottom of the shelf like a fossil. And not the gummies, not the good ones. And that one dusty jar of vapor rub that you forgot was back in the back of the cabinet. It's less of a wellness center and more of a chaotic shrine than anything. So why are we all doing this? Are we simply just exhausted, right? Hoping a pill will fix what capitalism broke? Supplements promise things like better sleep, stronger focus, better gut health, and eternal youth. All in one gummy, mind you. But a lot of folks take them without actually knowing what they're deficient in. We see a TikTok saying to someone, magnesium changed my life, and suddenly it's in our cart. Meanwhile, we haven't had a vegetable since Tuesday, and we think hydration means finishing the iced coffee we started this morning. Here's the real deal. Yes, some supplements are helpful, right? Vitamin D, B12, iron, magnesium. They can make a difference if you're low in them, especially if you're a vegetarian over 40, or just living that stressful, eat microwave meal, standing up life. But they're called supplements for a reason. They're supposed to supplement your diet, not replace it. You can't eat hot fries for dinner and chase it with a multivitamin and expect to become invincible. Most supplements aren't regulated by the FDA either. That means what's on the label might not be what's in the bottle. It's basically the nutritional version of a mixtape. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it's just sawdust and good vibes. Here's the truth. A lot of supplements, at least their ads, won't tell you their real flex isn't owning 30 supplements. It's actually taking the ones you need consistently. Most people start strong. You buy a $40 of a bottle of something with a leafy label and a lotus flower on it, and take 2 pills and slowly migrates to the back of your cabinet like an emotional support bottle. Consistency beats hype. Taking 1 or 2 things that actually help every day is way more powerful than cycling through 10 trendy powers that end up as kitchen counter decor. You want results? Build a routine that fits your life, not someone else's. If that means a multivitamin with your bagel every morning, cool. If it means magnesium before bed because you hate waking up feeling like a raccoon that got hit by a bus, go for it. You don't need a pharmacy in your pantry. Start with your actual needs. Are you tired? Get a blood panel. Trouble sleeping? Look at your habits before you go get a load of melatonin. Instead of buying 12 bottles of trendy powders and capsules, maybe just drink some water, eat a piece of fruit, and go outside. That combo right there is the OG wellness trifecta. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be intentional. Let's be honest. Most of us aren't dealing with rare vitamin deficiencies. We're dealing with chronic dehydration, 6 hours of sleep, and the emotional toll of group chats we can't leave. No supplement is going to cancel your stress if you're still ignoring basic needs. Start there. Then if you still feel a little off, maybe introduce a capsule. Let's stop acting like a powdered mushroom blend is going to fix a lifestyle that's 80% survival mode and 20% caffeine. That's the Bargain Brand Wellness take. That one was alright. I got to work on some of these scripts a little bit. I saw Angela Paul Penrod stepped in. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if you're still on here. See, we got a few other viewers, or a couple other viewers just joined us. We just finished talking briefly about vitamins and supplements. For any of you who are, avid watchers of social media, or especially I see it on TikTok a lot. You see all these new vitamins, all these new things that are going to make you super healthy, make your life worth living. Don't get me wrong, there's some good stuff out there, but there are a lot of things that are, in all honesty, just a lot of hype, and not even 100% sure what's in them. I myself have experimented with different things, so I'm not preaching to anyone. I try different things to see if I like them, and I seem to have found a pretty good regimen. But I'll try something, see if I notice a difference or not. And I'll try to do as much research as I can, and then continue to do so. So just some examples of some different things that I try. One thing I got really into was adaptogens, right? The good mushrooms, reishi, lion's mane is what I take now. I take 2 capsules every morning, and I have noticed a big difference over the last. I've been probably taking those for well over a year, but probably even more closer to a year and a half. I've been taking those mushrooms. I take those first thing in the morning, 2 little capsules, and they do wonders. Lion's mane's, those mushrooms are said to be great for brain function, which is honestly what most of my vitamins are geared towards. What else do I take? I did start taking the Shilajit. I'm sure you've probably seen that somewhere in some ad. I've seen the little resin version. That looked like it might be too messy for me, so I take these. I got them off of Amazon. They're little caplets, right? I try to change up my ratio though, because they do. I won't lie, this stuff gets a little expensive when you have all these different supplements. They say to take 1 or 2 of them, and so I started taking 1 just to kind of make my supply last a little bit longer. They give me a nice little boost in the morning as well. And when I say a little boost, I'm not saying like, I just got done drinking an espresso, but just, mental clarity. It's, I guess, kind of the best way to explain that. The Shilajit, I've kind of went up and down because they say that, it can cause, a little bit of an upset stomach. Shilajit has a really strong taste to it, which is why I kind of like those caplets a little bit. And that's usually kind of my morning regimen as far as supplements go. With food, I really got into magnesium. I'm sure we've all heard or seen, that magnesium is supposed to be great for cognition and brain function, and even helping with your mood and anxiety as well. However, there's multiple versions of magnesium. So I actually found what's called a triple complex. It has magnesium malate in it, which I looked up. Magnesium malate is good for just muscle support, energy. Then there's magnesium glycinate, which that's supposed to be good for cognition. And then magnesium citrate, which is supposed to be helpful for constipation. How's it going, Mama McCrae? What are your thoughts on sea moss? I haven't done enough research on that. I was, last year, I was taking a supplement. It was one of those ones that had like 15 to 20 different things in it. One of those big hype ones that had ashwagandha, black sea moss in it, or sea moss, black seed oil. Supposedly it has shilajit. It had all these other different things. I felt like that one was hype. Like, there's no way you can really... I'm going to be honest. I don't just see how you can fit all that goodness into just one capsule. I feel like all the dosage in each little capsule is just not enough to really do anything. I haven't heard much about sea moss lately, but I do remember kind of when they were first talking about it, that it, it's supposed to be pretty good for you. But yeah, so no, I don't take sea moss. But once again, it's one of those things, research it up a little bit and see, see what it does. See if you notice the difference. It's one of those things with all these supplements, as I kind of mentioned in my video that I was recording, they're not things that are going to change your life overnight. They're things that kind of supplement your diet to kind of fill in the gaps of the vitamins or minerals that you're not getting. They're not really supposed to replace it. Nothing beats, a healthy, well-balanced diet, some water, good night's sleep, a little bit of exercise. I mean, honestly, that's really the best thing. I wish there was more miracle drugs or miracle vitamins out there. But don't get me wrong, I do think there are some good ones. So... I don't know. What else do I take? I do take fish oil, right? That's not so much. I mean, it is a supplement, but that's kind of proven. I'm 42 years old. I'm due to get blood work. As much as I'm starting a wellness channel, and I'm bad for going to the doctor. I'm due to get blood work, and last time I went, they did say my cholesterol was a little high. I need to watch the saturated fats, which I feel like I do a pretty good job of. I feel like some of that just might be genetics, though, because that kind of stuff runs in my family. I eat relatively healthy. I try not to eat out all that much. Sometimes we run into bad habits, but I've really cut back on my sugar content. I really don't drink much sugar at all. Soda. 0 sugar, right? I'm not saying that that's the healthiest thing for you, but 0 sugar. I don't put any sugar in my coffee. Really, my own real vices that I get sugar of are I like ice cream, right? We were talking about that on Wednesday on the stream. I like I've never had an ice cream I didn't like. Let's just put it that way. I love ice cream. But I'm sure they have zero sugar brands of that if I really wanted to try it out. I do know they have zero sugar brands of candy now. It's not super popular, but I'm sure it will be as these zero sugar drinks continue to rise. So yeah, fish oil. And then the one thing I did forget, vitamin D, right? The one thing I read about was with magnesium, your body doesn't actually end up absorbing the vitamin D. If your body doesn't absorb the vitamin D or the magnesium if you don't take vitamin D. So apparently you have to take those two together. And the one I take is it's a vitamin D3 with K2, which is potassium. Right? Apparently that helps your body absorb all that magnesium so you get the most out of it. Derek Zazar says, Tim Reen is my hero. You're my hero too, buddy. Thanks for being on here. I appreciate it. All right. We don't have as many viewers as we did on Wednesday, but I appreciate you all stepping in. We've been on for about 20 minutes. If this is your guys' first time checking out this is kind of a new channel that I've started called Bargain Brand Wellness. If you guys haven't already seen some of the videos, this one is just me, mostly live stream. I am recording. So it'll also be posted to YouTube, TikTok, as well as I think you can still access this stream on Facebook, but I don't know for how long. I think I have to take it down or Facebook takes it down. I'm not 100% sure. My brother from the same mother on here, Daniel G. What's up, buddy? So we're kind of just finishing our first segment. We were talking about vitamins and supplements, some of the different things that I kind of splurge, I kind of mess around with. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm always, on some sort of health or wellness kick. I try different things. I've done intermittent fasting. I've tried keto. I've tried 24-hour fasting. I did that a couple times last year and I liked it, but it's not easy. I won't tell you that. I think the hardest part with 24-hour fasting is what you choose to break your fast with. You cannot eat garbage when you're coming off a 24-hour fast. You have to eat something small, like drink a little bowl of chicken broth. Maybe some crackers or some toast with maybe a wee little bit of butter on there. My first time coming off a 24-hour fast, I had basically had fast food. I got sick everywhere. It was not a good sight. Yeah. So before we get into the next segment, I see we're starting to get some viewers on here. As I mentioned, we just kind of got finished talking about vitamins and supplements. What is your regimen? Right? Only my mama can call me Daniel, sir. You're right. And just so you guys know, there is a 20-second delay on here. So if I don't respond to your chat right away, just know that I haven't got it yet. But yeah, what is your supplement, right? What is your regimen, right? I know Mama McCrae was on here. She was asking about sea moss. I don't know a lot about it, all other than, I remember seeing a supplement last year that it was one of those like 15 or 20 supplements all in one. Not gonna lie, I purchased it. I was taking it, but I didn't really notice anything with it, so it's not something that I would continue. Sea moss in itself, I'd be actually curious to research that one a little bit more. Hello, mother. So not only is my brother from the same mother on here, my mother from the same mother is also on here. Welcome, Mom. This show's a little bit cleaner, hopefully. We might get a little down and dirty occasionally, but I don't know how often. Nobody has any vitamin regimens they want to kind of throw in here? If not, we're going to go ahead and jump into the next segment. So for any of you who drink lots of water to remove toxins from your body, listen, Mom, that's exactly what I was telling my audience, right? Vitamins and supplements are great, but they're just that. They're meant to supplement your diet. There ain't nothing going to replace good, healthy food, water, a good night's sleep, and a little bit of exercise here. I like horny goat weed. I've never had that one. Is it good? Paul, it sounds like something you would try. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, shoot. Probably the one I think I've liked the most out of the different supplements that I take. Well, definitely the magnesium, which is why I brought it out. I definitely like this one. And then that the lion's mane mushroom. It's been really good. So just kind of give you guys a little bit of a heads up what our next segment is going to be, in case you didn't see my TikTok that I posted. Our next segment is going to be the idea of, marriage, right? Why do women still take, is it obsolete for a woman to still take a man's name in today's world? So basically, I'm kind of recording this piece. So feel free to throw some comments in the chat as I'm going, and then I'll react to those as soon as we get into it. Back in the day, a woman taking her husband's name wasn't romantic, it was legal. As in, congrats, you're now legally someone's +1 for eternity. Please surrender your birth identity at the door. This wasn't about love, it was about ownership. Once married, a woman was legally absorbed into her husband's identity. She didn't just take his name, she gave up her own. We inherited this tradition from the English common law, literally called the doctrine of coverture, which sounds less like a romantic notion and more like a mid-level Harry Potter spell. Under this doctrine, a woman had no separate legal identity after marriage. Her husband could sign contracts on her behalf. She couldn't own property. Heck, she was property. Today, obviously the legal landscape has changed, but the habit of name-taking remains. Why? Not because it makes sense, but because we're used to it. It's a historical relic that somehow still gets wrapped in Pinterest boards and personalized wedding favors. Names aren't just words, they're part of your identity. You've had yours since birth. It's on your school trophies, your Instagram handle, your college degree, and probably a coffee mug you bought when you were feeling mildly optimistic at Target. Boom, marriage comes and society's like, guess what? You gotta start all over again. Imagine telling a man he needed to change his name to his wife's and watch him short circuit like someone just asked him to switch to oat milk. That's the thing, we don't expect men to do it. Deep down, we still treat men's identity as the default, as to the woman's as the changeable part. For a woman, the pressure, right, to change their name doesn't come from the law anymore. It comes from family, tradition, or the fear of confusing the daycare sign-in sheet. But the cost is real. You're not just updating your driver's license. You're being asked to make your entire public identity subordinate to your relationship status. The good news, this isn't 1952, right? More women today are keeping their names, or at least considering options like hyphenation, creating a new shared name, or choosing whichever name sounds coolest. According to recent surveys, about 20 to 30% of US women now keep their name after marriage. And that number is rising, especially among millennials and Gen Z. The pressure still exists though, socially and culturally. A woman keeping her name can still be seen as making a statement, while a man keeping his is just being alive. It is a double standard. And the funny part, it's not even efficient. Changing your name legally is a bureaucratic nightmare. You have to make a DMV appointment. You're sitting on hold with Social Security. You're updating every login from your airline miles to your library card. You basically need a project manager just to rebrand yourself. This one always pops up like it's checkmate, but don't you want to have the same last name as your kids? As if children will be thrown into existential spirals the moment they realize their mom has a different last name. Spoiler alert, they won't. Kids are remarkably resilient, especially when raised in a home where identity and autonomy are respected. Also, let's flip it. Why don't we ever ask Dad if he wants to match the kid's name? If it really matters that much, why isn't he taking her name? Or hyphenating? Or here's a thought, letting the kid choose later. This argument isn't about logic. It's about keeping women in the traditional lane under the illusion of family unity. But real unity isn't about matching fonts. It's about shared values, respect, and agreeing on a group snack during movie night without passive aggression. Look, we're not saying every woman who changes her name is wrong. That's not the vibe. What we're saying is choice only means something when all options are socially valid. If keeping your name gets you side eyes or guilt tripped by Aunt Karen, then it's not really a choice. It's a pressured performance. Real empowerment means stepping back and asking, is this decision about what I want or about what I'm afraid to challenge? The moment we stop treating name changing as automatic, we make space for actual decision making. That's the goal. Not a rule, not a demand, just room to choose without fear. And if we're building on marriage, on equality, trust, and mutual respect, then that should include respecting each other's identities. Your name's not a placeholder. It's a history, a brand, a vibe. Keep it, change it, hyphenate it. Just make sure it's your call. And that is the Bargain Brand Wellness View. All right, what do we? Hyphenated last names for women are becoming more common, though. They definitely are becoming more common. You definitely see them all the time, especially, and it makes sense. A woman who in business, right? Who's established, doesn't want to really change that name or lose that last name. It's not actually for eternity. According to the Bible in Luke 20, at the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. Okay. I guess you mean like you're talking like afterlife type stuff. I don't know. I don't always have the smartest viewers in here. That might be a little kind of deep for them. I'm just joking, people. I love you. No, it really is kind of obsolete. I mean, if you think back to where the whole idea came from, I mean, it really does go back to ownership. The father of a household married off his daughters as property, right? Because they got something in return, right? That was their way, their bargaining chip, to get something that was pretty effective for them at the time, I guess. LOL, sorry. No, you're good. I appreciate the different perspective. I never really thought about it from a biblical perspective. And then, it's just a tradition we've kind of carried over. That didn't hurt my feelings. I wasn't talking about you. I might have been. Yeah, I think for me, the whole idea of name changing, it's never really been that important. That's why I didn't have Tammy change her name. Plus, she's already been married before, and her and I had talked. If we had children of our own blood, children, it probably would have meant a little bit more to me. And she said she probably would have changed it, but it wasn't really something that was all that important to me. So we've had a few viewers pop in and out of here. I think the only thing I got to figure out with this, and maybe it's just Facebook, I don't know. I am gonna eventually post on YouTube as well, and TikTok, which is unfortunate because that's what I'm trying to figure out. I may have people I know, Mom, you only use Facebook. I'd hate for you to not be able to join. Not that you're going to join all the time, because I know it is a little bit later. But I'd hate for you to miss the opportunity to join because I'm going live on YouTube or TikTok. And some people have even mentioned Twitch to me, which I've considered. We might have to check it out. We'll see. I found a site online that I can kind of link all of my different accounts to to stream at multiple platforms at one time, but it looks like I have to establish a live streaming history on them in order for me to connect those accounts. So I don't know. Some nights I might have to do like just a YouTube stream and maybe just post the live to Facebook or to YouTube or whatever. There is a Facebook group on here, so for anyone who's been popping in and out of here, or for anyone who is anyone who's seeing this video afterwards, join our Facebook group. You can follow me on other things, but the Facebook group is kind of, for now, is going to kind of be our community builder that we use to kind of, get information out there. I created an account on X, or formerly known as Twitter, so you can follow the Bargain Brand Wellness on there as well. I don't post a lot on there, but I will be posting stuff. I created an Instagram account as well for this. We have a YouTube, Bargain Brand Wellness. I uploaded Wednesday's video to this, and then also what will be uploaded on the YouTube channel will be the segments. They're meant to be like 3 to 5 minute videos. They're just little smaller takes that people can watch if they're not really interested in watching the whole thing. This is kind of my first time doing the a live stream type thing, especially with just me on here trying to interact with chat. This isn't always someone's vibe. Not everybody's kind of always into this. And on Facebook, as I mentioned before, for anyone who's watching, there is a slight 20-second delay roughly between when I see your comment based off when you posted it. So I'm not ignoring you, right? There's not many people in here, so I'm reading every comment that comes through, including Angela or Paul's Horny Go Weed. I'm not quite sure which one made that comment. So we're just gonna keep chatting in here for a couple minutes. We've gone through our first 2 segments. For anybody who's joining, we started by talking about different supplements, right? Different vitamins that people take. Just because there's so much hype around that, and there's a lot of good stuff out there, but then there's some that it's just really hype out there. As I shared before, I take a couple different things, but my big one is magnesium. I take a triple complex. It has magnesium malate, glycinate, and magnesium citrate. All 3 have different things that they can do for your body. It's supposed to be really helpful for I don't want to say just brain function, but like anxiety, depression. But the one thing I did read about magnesium, in order for your body to really absorb all of it, you need to take a solid vitamin D supplement as well with it. And so what I take is vitamin D3 and potassium, right? It's listed as like K2, but I take that with it as well. That, and then I take lion's mane, right, which is one of those adaptogenic mushrooms that is supposed to be really good. And that one I do notice a difference. Some of you who know me know I was drinking that mushroom coffee. Shoot, what was the brand? Mudwater. I was drinking it. So a family member had bought it for me, and it was good. I liked it. It was different. I don't even really know how to explain it. It was more like a tea, but it looked like cocoa powder, but it did not taste like cocoa powder. I promise you that. I didn't like it hot though. I only liked it over ice, and I'm not like an iced coffee type person. And I drank that for, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year. And I liked it. I'll be honest, probably the only reason I stopped, it was so much hassle to make it because I had to boil water to then mix in with it. And then you really had to blend it because you couldn't just start with a spoon. So then I had to buy one of those little milk frother things because that was just the easiest thing. Blend that up and then add my ice to it. And then I could enjoy it. In fact, I'd even squeeze a little bit of a lemon into it as well. And that was pretty good. But that stuff, the powdered, the tea itself would stain the inside of whatever glass. I was reusing the same like kind of travel cup, and it got disgusting. So it was just so much, and it was like $40 a month for it. So while I liked it, it was time to get off of it. Yeah. So that was our kind of our first segment, and then the second one, which we just got done recording, just had to do with the idea that a woman taking her husband's last name, is it still obsolete in today's world, right? If you're just joining us, share your thoughts with it. Like I said, there's a slight delay on here, about 20 seconds, but I'm reading. We don't have a lot of people in here, so I'm reading the chats as they come through. That mud water. Oh, that's right. You did have it, and you gave me some of it. I don't drink it anymore, Danny. I probably haven't had it in over a year. I had reverted back to you probably remember my butter coffee with the coconut oil and the butter, which, don't get me wrong, I liked. But same thing, it was a hassle. And for the longest time, I've always been one of those people. I love coffee. I've drank coffee pretty much every day since the age of 16. And I've always been one of those people who said, I gotta have at least something in my coffee. I don't think I can just drink straight black coffee. I used to always just put sugar in it. I was never much of a cream person. And then I was trying to cut back on sugar, so I was trying to add cream to it. And then anybody who knows me knows that I go off on a freaking down a rabbit hole. How bad creamers are for you because of all the added vegetable oils, which helps kind of keep it from separating. I started trying to make my own creamer, which was more expensive than it was worth. That I eventually did, thanks to a couple guys I work with, including my one of my employees that I work with very closely, Michael Blank, kind of got me into drinking just straight black coffee. I didn't like it at first. I was like, I'll try it. But after about 2 days, I'm like, okay, I actually like this. And I honestly, that's how I drink my coffee. And I can drink any coffee, straight black, and I love it. It's enjoyable. Sheets is probably still my favorite. But yeah, it's good. I enjoy it. I don't know that I would ever really be able to put anything back in my coffee. I just think it's too sweet. I've really cut back on the sugar, as I was sharing with a couple people earlier in the stream, that I don't really consume much sugar other than what might be in, the little bit that might be in bread, or my occasional snacks that I have. I don't, I quit drinking alcohol several years ago, so I still got some of my vices in there. My big one is ice cream. Right, I love ice cream, especially now the warm weather's coming. I wouldn't say I'd like ice cream every day, but once a week, oh yeah, I don't mind a nice ice cream. And the reason I can say that I love ice cream, I've never had an ice cream I didn't like. Right, I prefer anything chocolate, but I've had other things that aren't chocolate and still just as good. So yeah, so that's been our main topics, right? The vitamin supplements, the women taking their husband's last name. Here in just a moment, we're going to get into our last topic. As I mentioned before, I'm kind of recording these shorter segments. They're about 3 to 5 minutes. So as I'm kind of going through that, I'm kind of working on these scripts that I wrote for them a little bit so that it's, feels more professional. I think I gotta shorten them a little bit. I think they're a little bit, some of the slides are a little bit too long that I'm kind of talking on. So feel free as I'm going through these to chat with me, or chat with each other, even if you're on here. If I don't respond right away, it's just because I'm recording. As soon as I'm done that 3 to 5 minute recording, I'll look over and I'll respond back to you. Yeah, exactly. Coffee ice cream. I've had that before. I'll tell you who else has one. Haagen-Dazs, the brand, has a waffle cone ice cream. It's basically just vanilla with bits and pieces of waffle cone, and I think it has like a little bit of chocolate in there, which is just enough to make it. It's good. I've only had it once, and now I'm sitting here thinking about it. I think the next time we have ice cream, I might, because I like to get those little cups, those little teeny tiny. It's not too much, and it's enough for just me. Because Tammy, she's just plain chocolate. The girls, they kind of just like vanilla with sprinkles. But I like to try. I'm the one who likes to try the different things. The way my anxiety gets going, You take me over and put me in front of a bunch of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I want them all, but you can't have them all, obviously. But sometimes I think Ben and Jerry's goes a little too far. They just way too creative with some of them. Keep it simple. All right, let's get into this last segment, which is kind of an interesting one. Which is kind of how you interact socially with people. Let's get the basics out of the way. An ambivert is someone who swings between introvert and extroverted tendencies, depending on the situation, their energy level, or who brought snacks. Some days, you're the life of the party, right? Other days, you ghost group chats like a ninja in sweatpants, right? And that's not just indecisiveness, that's range. Unlike introverts who recharge solo, or extroverts who gain energy from social interactions, ambiverts are like human dimmer switches. They can adapt their energy based on context. It's not about being halfway, it's about being flexible. Ambiverts are the Goldilocks of social energy. Not too much, not too little, just right. This flexibility is powerful. It allows you to connect with all kinds of people and thrive in multiple environments. But it can also be confusing because you're constantly second guessing your vibe. Do I want to go out tonight? Do I really want to go out tonight? What if I just text people while hiding under a blanket? Ambiverts live in a world of limbo. And you can enjoy parties, but only under the right lighting, with good snacks and an escape plan. You like people, but they also exhaust you. You're great in meetings and immediately need to lay down afterward in a horizontal silence cocoon. It's a social mood swing with a cause. And the planning, it's chaos. You RSVP yes to things on Monday, cancel them on Friday, and spend the weekend wondering why you committed in the first place. Your calendar is a graveyard of potential. Your friends either think you're flaky or mysterious. Pro tip, let them think you're mysterious. It sounds way cooler. That unpredictability makes people underestimate you. But actually, ambiverts often have the best social skills. You know when to speak, when to listen, and when to vanish without saying goodbye. It's an art form. It's called the Irish exit, and you've perfected it. In the workplace, ambiverts are straight up superpowers. You can lead a meeting and listen without dominating. You can network and go heads down and grind. You're the bridge between the loud ones and the quiet ones. The middle child of office dynamics. Keeping the peace while low-key running things. Sales studies have even shown ambiverts outperform pure extroverts because they can adapt better. They know when to push and when to pause. Ambiverts don't come off as overly aggressive or too aloof. They just adjust to who they're talking to like social chameleons. The downside? Burnout. You can do everything, so people expect you to. You say yes to projects, yes to lunch, yes to that Slack thread at 4:59 p.m. And suddenly, you're emotionally bankrupt. Ambiverts need boundaries too, even if they look like they're thriving. In the workplace, ambiverts are straight up superpowers. You can lead a meeting and listen without dominating. Right? Here's the thing. This whole binary of introvert versus extrovert is outdated. It's like putting people in Hogwarts houses and pretending that their entire personality. It's fun at parties, but real humans are way more complex. Ambiverts prove that personality exists on a spectrum and not just a clean gradient. More like mood rings influenced by environment, season, whoever else is in the room, and whether or not there's free food. Some days you're Beyonce at the Super Bowl. Some days you're a houseplant with Wi-Fi. It's time we retire the idea that you have to pick a lane. Ambiverts remind us that being in between is not being indecisive, it's being dynamic. You're not confused, you're just too evolved for a personality BuzzFeed quiz. Ambiverts often feel like they don't belong in either camp. You're not introverted enough to skip the party, not extroverted enough to enjoy staying all night, but here's the truth. That adaptability, that's your edge. You're the person who can't connect with the loud friend and the quiet one. You thrive in solo projects and team brainstorms. You're the reason group texts don't fall apart and road trips stay interesting. You are the glue with a mood ring. So instead of trying to define yourself in extremes, embrace the in-between. Flexibility is a strength. Ambiverts are the ones holding the world together, one awkward small talk and strategic ghosting at a time. And that is the Bargain Brand Wellness View. Mint chocolate chip still the go. I agree. I haven't had mint chocolate chip in so long now. I don't know if you're on here still or not, Danny. So I will say I definitely need to adjust these my scripts a little bit, make them a little bit better. But this is only our second stream. We're kind of work in progress here. But so far, not too bad. We've had some people pop in and out, say hi for a moment. This is a different way of kind of interacting with people. A lot of people live stream video games. We're just up here kind of chilling. This is kind of just our interactive show where we go over 3 different segments, 3 different topics based on wellness, everything wellness. Right, and I'll be honest, sometimes we'll even go a little bit off script, because I can kind of bring everything to wellness, right? What's something you like to do to relax? Play video games. Great idea. What's your favorite video game series? Final Fantasy? Let's talk Final Fantasy, right? I can easily throw it in, right? Destiny? Yeah. Right, we can kind of throw anything in here, but yeah, I think one of the big things, I got plenty of ideas for different segments to throw on the show. We'll definitely hope to kind of garner ideas from our viewers, our followers, right? Our hardcore followers. Let me know something you really want to talk about. And we'll see if we can incorporate it into our next show, or maybe even talk about it while we're on there. I'm not, one thing I shared with our audience on Wednesday is I'm not an expert in any of these things, and I do not claim to be, right? I am a student of wellness, is how I kind of see myself. Ooh, I like that one. I'm going to have to write that down as one of my slogans. I'm a student of wellness. I'll teach you some things, but I'm open for you to teach me some things. In fact, I encourage that. I think that's what helps me be the person that I want to be, is that I'm willing to learn from others. So I'm excited to continue this journey with everyone. I'm excited for the love, that we've had. We plan to, my plan is to try to stream this, 3 times a week, right? It's kind of my plan, right? Life happens, things get busy. It may not always be that, but we're definitely going to do at least 3 times a week, possibly more at times, because as I mentioned before, I want to try to branch out to other places, right? We will, as of right now, Facebook, because this is just where I know people personally. Facebook will kind of be our main landing place. But we have a YouTube channel, which is where videos will be uploaded. The live will be uploaded there as a whole video, as well as our 3 short segments will also be uploaded there. Like I said, 3 to 5 minute videos. I know I need to work on my scripts a little bit. And as I mentioned before, I'm a student of this, so I appreciate any feedback, any corrective feedback that anyone has. As I was kind of going through my scripts, I felt a little tongue-tied as I was saying them. I think they were a little bit too long. I probably should have just kind of kept bullet points and then just kind of talked the way I would talk, which is honestly how I usually do things when I'm in a classroom. That's usually what I do anyway. So, but yeah, so YouTube, TikTok. We have a TikTok page. I was having issues. I couldn't post anything on there, not on my desktop, but I was able to post there on the mobile TikTok app. Not I think there's like 2 videos on there right now, but so we will probably try to do some TikTok live at some point. So Facebook, YouTube, TikTok live are kind of my main 3 right now. I've had a couple people mention streaming on Twitch, because Twitch does have a just chatting kind of portion of their site. If there's viewership there, sure. We might try out Twitch. I have a Twitch account that I never use. It was really just to watch McDermott, because I don't stream video games. As much as I love video games, I hardly ever play video games anymore. So we're gonna play a lot. We're gonna try a lot of different places. This is a growing project, I guess we'll call it. But we're coming up with some pretty catchy slogans. What was the one I just mentioned? Student of Wellness. Student of Wellness. I don't know if that's really a slogan, but I kind of like that one a little bit. Kind of our slogans we've kind of worked on, and I think would actually kind of look good on t-shirts. My favorite one thus far is self-care on clearance. Right? I know kind of the branding here, bargain brand wellness. I've heard some people were like, well, what are you selling? I'm not selling anything. I mean, we might eventually have merch, but I'm not selling a project. The idea came to me last week. I've been wanting to start this channel for a couple years now, in all honesty. It was just a matter of actually doing it. And the idea started coming to me because, as I mentioned before, I'm not an expert of it. I was thinking, what about like a off-brand version of wellness, like a dollar store brand? And I was working around with like dollar store wellness, value wellness, and then it just hit me. I remember a commercial. I think it was like a toilet paper commercial or paper towels, bargain brand. And I was like, bargain brand wellness, and bam, just hit me. And I love the name. I like the logo we're using right now with the little kind of tag with the money sign on it. That's what we're going to kind of go with. I'm sure the logo will kind of get updated at some point, but that's what we're going to go with. And then, me, any of y'all who know me, I like to be a little cheesy sometime. BBW, if you know. So yeah. So we haven't had any chats in a while. I'll tell you what, do me a favor. There is like a slight 20-second delay, but I've seen like we're popping back and forth between 2 and 3 viewers. Fortunately, Mom, I'll address that here in a second. Unfortunately, and I don't know if maybe I'm just missing something, on Facebook, I can't see who's on here unless they post a chat. So throw a chat in there. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a hey, what's up? Or give me your favorite wellness tip. I really don't see a way to see who are my viewers in here. I can see the different comments, the viewers, the reaction, but I don't have a way to see who are my viewers right now. Danny, I don't know if you know anything about that. Is that something I should be able to see, or no? We. So I keep saying we. Who's we? We is the brand. It's something that I started to do over the last few years. How can I explain this? Hey Ashley, thank you for being here. You know what, Danny, your wife was on here and she was actually a great support. We had a lot of good conversation in here, and I hope she got some out of last week's or our stream the other day. The we. How do I explain this? The we is kind of my way of like, this is the brand. the brand is us. Like, it's just me. Like, there's nobody else. But it's our, because like, okay, here's how I'll explain. My community, which is small right now, but it's growing. It's us, it's we. Like, this is my channel, but because kind of how I mentioned, like, I'm a student of wellness, like, I'm hoping to teach you something, but I'm also hoping to learn something from other people. That's where the we comes in. I know I'm weird, but you know, it makes sense to me. So I don't know anything about Facebook, but I don't use it anymore. I just thought because you kind of watch streamers, I thought maybe you would know. On Twitch, can you see like who all your viewers are, or is it kind of the same thing? You can just see how many people are viewing, and but you really don't know who it is until they hit the chat. I know we got a few people in here right now. I'm going to ask you to kind of hang on. We have one little final thought that we're going to kind of pose before we wrap up. So if you don't mind hanging out with us for just a few more minutes, and then we're going to finish up. These aren't long streams. This isn't like those 3 and 4 hour streams. This is like a short hour to an hour and a half show. You can see that on Twitch. I don't know about Facebook. I would say no. I'm sitting here. I mean, I have it kind of minimized a little bit, but I just don't see anywhere where I can see who all my viewers are. I was able to see it after it got posted, and when I'm live, I don't really want to hit a whole lot of buttons. Apparently I can do polls. I can do questions on here. When I do my lives, it shows you who is watching, but only on the comment page. It goes away. I don't see it. The only names I see is anyone who's made a comment. Because I've seen, like, we've jumped from, like, we had 4 people in here at one point. I had 7 people in here on Wednesday at one point. Some of them were people who were chatting, people I work with. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't see that. Maybe I'm just missing it. So, all right. So our kind of last little piece that we're going to jump into is it's a little recurring segment that I'll have every stream. It's called Off-Brand Thoughts. It's kind of like a hot take on all 3 of the segments that we had, but kind of spliced together. I don't know that I'm going to do this one as a separate recording. I'm just going to kind of read the script, kind of go through it, you know, kind of talk about it a little bit, and then I think we're going to wrap up for the night, this nice Friday night. There's a few people who I thought was going to be on here didn't make it, but no hard feelings. I'm sure other things happen. Hello to my wonderful, my Aunt Deborah. She was in here on Wednesday as well. All right, let's move over here. All right, so our off-brand thought for the day. You ever notice how so many things we do, whether it's popping supplements, changing our last name, or pretending we're either totally introverted or wildly extroverted, are really just society handing us a script and saying, here, follow this and don't ask questions. And we do it, not because it fits, right? But because it's familiar. Like a pair of jeans that don't quite fit anymore, but we're emotionally attached to. Here's the deal. If your wellness routine is stressing you out, if your relationship traditions feel like erasing yourself, or if your personality doesn't fit neatly into a quiz result, maybe it's not you that's broken, maybe it's the script. Off-brand thought, maybe wellness isn't just about what you take, it's about what you're allowed to keep. Your name, your energy, your weird in-between personality. Maybe that's the good stuff. And that's the Bargain Brand Wellness off-brand thought for the day. Louis Curcio. I've missed you, buddy. I talk about you all the time. Thanks for being here. I don't ever wear this. I bought it as kind of a goof, but I'm not going to lie. Danny, you can laugh if you want. I agree. I think I look good. I think the glasses kind of pulled together too. We can kind of bring these up a little bit. Glad you're on here, Lou. Hopefully you're enjoying life. I haven't talked to you. I haven't talked to you since you left EJS, buddy. It's funny. The last segment we did on, ambiverts, which is basically a flow from introverts to extroverts. I definitely kind of resonated with that. I've always considered myself a very introverted person. In fact, most of you who've known me, like my mother and my brother and my sister-in-law, would say I'm usually a pretty shy person. But people who know me professionally, right, or people who see me on here, like this person right here is introverted. I get a different vibe. When I'm in front of a classroom, I'm a totally different person. When I'm on here, I feel comfortable doing this. This is just fun to me. I just really enjoy it. So, yeah. I think most of us kind of flow. I think it's becoming more and more common that people kind of flow between introvert and extrovert. Off-brand Sherlock Holmes. It's a different take maybe. The scarf kind of goes with it, right? And hey, for the first time in my life, I feel like I kind of match, right? I've always had that issue. I checked my phone. Danny, what's the score of the Dodgers-Phillies game? The last I looked, they were up 3-0. I haven't posted that TikTok yet, so I haven't officially announced anything yet. I'm probably going to post that tomorrow. But I do have a question. Do you think if the Phillies do beat the Dodgers in the series, do you think Ethan's going to hold up to his end of the bargain? I mean, I know it was for the show, but a bet's a bet. I'm just saying. Oh, the Phillies won 3-2. I was listening to it, but then we had to hop on here. Jesus Luzardo so far has done pretty well. Gave the Dodgers their first L of the year. I feel like I kind of called that one a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little tip. Depends on what you prefer. Me and Ash both agree that the 20-second delay seems a little too long. May want to lessen the delay 10 seconds maybe. I didn't know that I could set... Danny, you could have put that in chat. I didn't know I could affect that delay. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff. If I can affect that, I would. I'd prefer no delay. Or maybe like 5 seconds. I agree that 20-second delay is really long. So we'll have to mess around with that. See. I'm looking at OBS. It says the delay is 11 seconds. If that's something that I can adjust on here, I'll have to look that up. Thanks for bringing that up. I didn't know I could fix that. I didn't know. So, I don't know. I think we're going to get ready to do our little outro. I appreciate all of you who have joined us. Like I said, I appreciate the support. This is a brand new channel. We plan to stream probably 3 days a week, roughly. Kind of Monday, Wednesday, Friday is kind of my thoughts, but we'll kind of play it by ear. I am going to eventually try different platforms. Facebook right now is going to kind of be our main landing page just because this is where I interact with most people. But we have a YouTube channel we're also going to try out. I have the YouTube channel. I just haven't streamed live from there yet. I have a TikTok channel I created. I'm going to go through TikTok Live Studio for that. And it also has been suggested to me to maybe try out Twitch in their just chatting section. So we might check that out, see if we can get some additional viewers. But yeah, we're having fun. So real quick, we're gonna kind of give our little outro, and we're gonna wrap up for the night. Are you live through OBS or Facebook? I'm live through Facebook. I'm streaming. So this is how I did it. I hit start streaming, and I use the Facebook stream key because the app that I found where I can do multiple things, I apparently have to develop a streaming history like on YouTube or TikTok before it'll let me do it. And it may not even let me do it. I don't know. So, because Facebook shouldn't have a delay on OBS, you can change the delay. Then it's just on OBS. Since you told me as soon as I'm done streaming, I'll check that out. I did not know I could adjust the delay. It just told me there was. So, all right, everyone. So, that's going to do it for tonight's Wellness of Bargain Brand Wellness, where we believe self-improvement doesn't have to come with a subscription fee, a smoothie bowl, or a personality overhaul. Remember, just because it's trending doesn't mean it's healing. Just because it's labeled natural doesn't mean it's necessary. And just because you're not doing it like the influencers doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Wellness isn't about chasing perfection, it's about checking in. Whether that means canceling plans to rest, questioning a weird old tradition, or just realizing that no one actually knows what ashwagandha does, you're doing the work. So whatever you do for yourself, right, for your version of what self-care looks like, a walk, a weird dream journal, a glass of water you meant to drink 3 hours ago, take it. Small stuff still counts, especially when it's self-care on clearance. And until next time, stay hydrated, stay curious, and above all, make it worth your wellness. See you guys next time.